Muhammad Ali died last night, and one of the greatest, if not the greatest athlete of all time, and by far one of the most socially relevant activists of his era and any era in professional sports. I want to talk about social activism in the NBA, yesteryear and today. Phil, are there any guys in the league right now who are outspoken like Muhammad once was?
On that level, I don't know. You can say that. I mean, there's a lot of guys who are doing some fantastic work socially. I mean, obviously you have guys like Dikembe doing his work out in Africa, but I mean, like on that level, no. I mean, like, because you would hear them on different levels. I mean, all the guys who do social activism in the NBA, and let's be fair, most professional sports, you hear about with their awards within that sport. You know, like John Wall won the Community Assist Award. And things like that. Like, you have guys doing great work, but I think to be on that level or even close, you would have to hear about them in non-basketball context. Like, you'd have to be able to go on CNN, on Fox News, and them not talking about sports, and then hear him. So I'd say no. I think he was outspoken in a way that really let the message fly, where guys now do it in different ways, I suppose.
Julian, is there a sense that with modern day branding, in the sense of, I guess, being politically correct, as Michael Jordan once said, Republicans buy shoes too, Nikes too. Is there a sense of that kind of scaredness to speak out these days?
I think a little bit, because of the way that, you know, I want to say, like, the way the media, and I realize as a part of the media, that kind of includes me too, and I guess like you guys as well, the way we will kind of misconstrue some of these things. And, you know, that being said, the situation that Muhammad Ali was in, as outspoken as he was, I felt like he was kind of in a situation where he said, you know what, like, I'm not going to, you know, I have my beliefs, I'm going to feel strongly about that. And maybe some athletes in this generation, they don't feel as strongly about certain things. They're not as passionate about some issues. But as I mentioned, I mean, there's also the fear that we can kind of take some of their things out of context, and we're going to keep hounding them about what they say for so much. And yeah, the fact that they have a lot of money tied into a lot of their personal brands. If they say that, you know what, I want one particular thing, a lot of their endorsement deals that could fall under the bridge, right? So there's definitely a lot of fear there. And I mean, I'm just amazed at how much, you know, a guy like Muhammad Ali throughout his time. I mean, I wasn't alive at Muhammad Ali's, you know, I say peak human, where he was, you know, obviously he was boxing and speaking out against civil issues and the whole thing with the Vietnam War. I'm actually kind of sad I was never, you know, around for a Muhammad Ali press conference, because I think those are just like some of the most quotable little moments ever, man. I mean, this guy was such a personality. There's no athlete, NBA, any other professional league otherwise, who could even compare to Muhammad Ali, not even just from you know an athletic level, but just from a speaking level, just from a charismatic level. I mean, there's no. He was literally the greatest of all time. We use the word GOAT for so many things, but this guy is probably, if you're thinking of, all right, we're thinking of an athlete who is the GOAT, I mean, Muhammad Ali is one of the first people you could think of. So to probably answer your question, there's definitely that fear among athletes where, because of the fact they're tied into so many endorsement deals, they don't really want to say as much as they can say. There's been a few NBA players who have stepped up and have said some things. It's just that even if they have said stuff, it will never compare to what Muhammad Ali has said throughout his career.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're using Blab, which is a new technology, and there's people chatting on the side, and I'm seeing some mentions of Jim Brown and Bill Russell. Have to mention Bill Russell because he very much was a black superstar athlete in an era, especially in basketball, when there were not black superstar athletes. He also was a coach as well, way before there were black coaches. And I remember it was an early moment in NBA history where he, Oscar Robertson, and others basically met, I think it was half an hour before the All-Star game, and said, we're not playing unless we get a union. And they just sat there and they spoke their mind. And got to keep in mind, this was the 60s. This was an era of turmoil. Very much the social change was throughout society. And this was when Ali was fighting as well in his prime. So there really was a sense of change. I want to talk about the modern era a bit. And one story that doesn't get told enough, if you guys remember, it was 2 or 3 years ago when the Clippers owner the racist was thrown out of the NBA. When that happened, the Clippers were in a playoff battle with Golden State. And Golden State, what they were going to do, if that had not been settled that evening, they were going to walk onto the court, warm up, and then walk off the court. And Adam Silver made a speech like an hour beforehand. It was settled. But that would have been like one of the most monumental, I guess, modern, I guess, standing up for a concept of society I've seen since Ali, to be honest. But we just don't have that. You think of any other moments like that?
Oof. Overall, in the modern era, how they actually stood up and stopped.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one's tough, honestly, because like that could have cost a lot of people money and jobs, but that's how you get effective protest, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, let's not forget, there were a lot of things that almost happened as well. Mm-hmm. Like outside of just Golden State, I mean, even within the Clipper organization, there was a lot of, are they even going to play? Mm-hmm. Like DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, all those guys. There were a lot of other teams and players who were thinking of boycotting. Like, I think if Silver hadn't have done that in the moment, it would have really been the first domino. So I think he was smart in getting the message early. There's an early investor there, but I don't think there's anything that's been that pronounced since. But yeah, it was definitely the point was taken, and you can't have that kind of speech or talk in the modern game. Honestly, it's it was a definite black eye, pardon the bad pun, in sports.
Julian, is there any player in NBA history who in any way encompasses the essence of Muhammad Ali at all? It's so hard to strive for that grace. He was so many things to so many people.
There's no one like him. Just to kind of add to Phil, there's absolutely no one like him, and like I said, I felt really. I mean, like I said, I didn't get a chance to see Ali box in his prime. I was only 2 years old when he came back to prominence and he lit that flame at the Atlanta Olympics. So my only my only views of Muhammad Ali in the present, it's him with Parkinson's and him being him going out to all these different events. But, he had Parkinson's, so he couldn't really speak all that much. So I didn't get to see Muhammad Ali at his peak. That being said, there's no other athlete who comes even close. And it's sad. It probably is because of the fact that so many of these athletes are tied into their endorsement deals and they're worried about, what, if I say this thing, Nike's going to drop and Reebok's going to drop me and whatever. Money just kind of, I don't want to use the word corrupt, but it's kind of...
Well, it's not just those endorsement deals either, right? Like how much emphasis is put on character now, right? And when you're talking about drafting players, talking about free agency. So does that make, any negative impact, or perceived impact? So, these people, like, players realize their careers are not these monumentally long. We look at guys like Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan who played close to 20 years and we're spoiled that way. But most players don't get to play that long. Let's be fair. Like a 3 to 5 year career. Like, there's a ton of players don't make it off their rookie contracts. So put yourself in a position where you may not be picked up because of XYZ views. Because of social media, because of all the rest. Look, we now have a better voice than ever before to get our words and message out. But at the same time, we're scrutinized on a level unparalleled in any generation. Think of how people look at, the social media, Facebook and all this, even for job interviews. People are picking apart all this. And so as much as people may agree with you, you still have to, play to the employer. And unfortunately, it's that weird balance. And so, like, I think if it happens again, it literally would have to be one of the major stars who you couldn't not sign again, right? Like if Steph Curry came out right now and was just like, I'm taking this, I'm pushing this message. Like, it's not like Under Armour's not going to sign him again. And it's not like Golden State's not going to offer him that next max deal. Like those are the players that have to step it. Like, it can't be your Ryan Andersons of the world. It can't be your players who could be let out. Like, to start this, But the thing is, like, I don't even feel it has to be one person. Like, this is a social conversation at this point. Like, this is not like not enough people agree. It's just, I think some people feel tied to holding back comments because they're not sure how it's going to be perceived. And I think just the general discussion has to be the thing that's pushed more than any individual points, right? Because when you get people talking about things in an open forum, and about building and stuff, like that's where change happens. I mean, statements happen, but like when someone makes a strong statement, someone standing right next to them sometimes is afraid to act because they don't know if they can jump to that level. But when you're just having basic conversation, I think that's where it has to start.
Yeah, and I think for Ali, he was fearless. He really didn't care about the consequences because he fought for his convictions. There's not a lot of people that way. He believed in deep-heartedly in his religion, in his culture, and in his country, and in his sport. And he always said what was on his mind. A truly one-of-a-kind human being, and we lost a great one last night. Anyways, Phil, I'm going to throw it back to you to wrap up. Julian, thank you for being on today.
Well, guys, I want to thank you for another episode of the Hoops Lounge here using our Blab technology. If you guys want to join us soon, we'll be sending out some links to future ones from myself, Phil Boileau, a.k.a. Sporting Phil on Twitter, Marc Griffin, a.k.a. Montreal Marc, and Julian McKenzie, a.k.a. Julian the Intern. If you want to grab all of our information, just go to hoopslounge.com or in the description below. We're going to post this on YouTube on the Hoops Lounge. So make sure to give us a subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time.
See ya.